Hello, I'm so excited that I'm not even going to wait for the countdown to finish because I've already told you, right, that in this episode I'm speaking to a really great friend of mine, David Walsh, and we're going to be discussing some stuff that's going on, a little bit of interest, and it'll be interactive conversation. And then sometime during our chat, we're going to be talking about something that I think is really great, and I know is close to David's heart. So let's go straight over to David. Hello, David. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, Joe. Thank you very much for having me again.
No, my pleasure, mate. I always like speaking with you because I find it so interesting, and we bounce ideas off each other, don't we?
Absolutely.
So there's lots going on in the world at the minute, and I'm not political, and I know neither are you. I just do find it interesting. I think that if you listen to the pundits, the doom and gloom merchants, you think the world was going to end
Yep.
probably by
Oh,
Saturday.
last Tuesday.
Oh,
It
last
all ended
Tuesday.
last Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It just
Even as soon as that. So, what's been going on in your life at the minute?
well, funnily enough, the sun's shining today, so doom and gloom. It ain't over here. Has been raining for a few days, but yeah, I've got a little bit of a book launch thing going on, and got some just taking care of business, just taking care
Yeah.
of business.
I,
Whatever is going on, the chaos is going on in the world around me. Got to take care of business.
yeah, and I ran an episode this morning on the old group, which is about the Pathfinder, and you
Yep.
know what? Not once did I mention any doom and gloom stuff, apart from how to deal with it, because
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's too much stuff going on with the politicians, and how strange is it that no one looks for good stuff anymore, or it doesn't seem right. No one who's got massive outreach with media, the news, Fox News, CNN, even the BBC are starting. They just focus on the bad stuff, don't they?
Yep. Yeah, for a simple reason, because neuroscience has shown that it actually one negative piece is actually 9 times more powerful than one positive piece. So
Yeah,
you need 9 pieces of positive information or news or something like this to counteract one single piece of negative information. So this is why the news is always negative. Or you'll have a Trevor McDonald bit about a nice kitten or something like that at the end, just like a little cherry on top to save the world. That it isn't all doom and gloom. But yeah, it's negative news is 9 times more powerful, and that's why they hook people because they got to come back and go, oh, how's the world falling about me today or in the next hour or this evening or whatever.
and that's interesting because I know that neuroscience also proves. I mean, it is sort of tongue in cheek because no one can actually say it's like when they say to form a habit, do it 21 times. Actually,
Yeah.
that wasn't what the experiment showed. They just came up with the 21 because it was nice. For some people it's 28, for some it's 15,
Yeah.
or a range. You do
You
something
want it to
often
grow
enough.
forever. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you do something often enough, it will form a habit. It is a well known fact, and an actual development from what you've said. If someone tells you something bad, like you're stupid or
Yeah.
you don't look good, it'll take up to 21 times just to negate that one negative comment to you before you start having belief in yourself again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like where we're like as business owners, we've got like if we're selling products and stuff like this, out of 100, if we get one bad review, one bad comment about our product, that's the one we focus on. We could have 99 phenomenal, amazing testimonials about our products and services, but it's that one person who says that bad thing that we focus on.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're automatically programmed to focus on the negative.
That reminded me of a joke that was told to me in the army once. I can't repeat it on here, but it just brought a little smile to my face. Just the one thing, the one bad news.
One thing.
Yeah, the one thing. So the good thing though, actually, because as you know, I know that you work with a lot of your clients and getting them with the impossible goals and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And I do stuff with my clients, and I'm looking at financial strategies and what have you. And with all the stuff that's going on, and here's something interesting to consider. Despite the news and what they're telling the public, right, which would bring people down, right, the markets, i.e., the stock market and all the world markets, have hardly moved,
Yeah.
and that's because there are people there are people, mathematicians out there that are much cleverer than I am with maths. I mean, I'm okay, but these guys are just phenomenal, and
They've
they
got
look at.
we do.
Sorry.
They've got a better abacus than we do.
Yeah, that's true. Abacus, now that's going back some time. If you're not sure, if you're watching and you're not sure what an abacus is, Google it because it's great. um, and they look at all the world markets. They look at trends, the PMI, the purchase
Yeah.
managers index. They look at all sorts of stuff and how the countries are trading between each other, and maybe a bit of a glitch with the oil prices because of what's going on in the Middle East. But apart from that, the future does look good. And I think that personally, Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, right, there's two strategies. She could be really painting it really bad. And then on the day itself, budget day, the 30th of October, 30th of this month, which happens to be the day, the precise date when I had my incident. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Anniversary.
Yeah. And on the day, she might say, oh, by the way, we found a few £1 billion down the back of the sea, and we don't have to make it that bad. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when you're working with your clients, what are you finding at the minute? What's the general consensus on a happiness scale?
Like thankfully, they're quite happy. I think they're probably a 7 or 8 and above, which is good.
Hmm.
And if they're not, then we quickly change that because we know like your mindset is your biggest indicator of how successful you're going to be. And if you're like a 1, 2, or a 3 on the happiness scale, I can't work with them
Yeah.
because that takes a lot of work to be able to turn that around. And so if they're a 6 and a 7, then we can get them to an 8 and a 9, which is good. Because they're the ones who have a growth mindset, who don't look at the doom and gloom, rarely look at the news, thankfully, and are focused on themselves rather than all the other stuff around them, the chaos that the world is causing, and the stuff the government does or whoever does, that they have no control over. So we fund control the controllables. Everything else you leave to whoever it is responsible for. So thankfully, my clients are doing okay.
And that's, thank you for that. That's very interesting as well about controlling the controllable, because a lot of people spend far too much time trying, and you know I don't like the word try, but in this instance, I'm using it in the context I want. They spend far too much time trying to control something that they haven't got a
Yeah,
Scooby. They haven't got a clue.
water uphill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that, water uphill. So listen, mate, we've known each other for a while.
A few years. Yeah,
Yeah, and a good while, and I consider it an honour to have you as a friend.
thank you.
And I know what you've been working on. I want you to tell me and tell me a little bit about that, because I know it's been a labour of love. It hasn't been a labour, but it's certainly been love.
Yeah.
Right. Tell me what you've been up to and what you're just releasing now.
Well, first of all, thank you for that. So, 3 years today, a very massive moment in my life happened, and 3 years today, my wife, the love of my life, took her last breath. And my world just was obliterated. The bottom fell out of it, and I did not know what to do. And through all that, pain and turmoil, I learned a lot about myself, and I also learned a lot about my wife in her passing, and why she died the way she did, and what my true purpose in life is. And funnily enough, I was just reminiscing about it today. Is like everything collapsed in my life. Everything went, and I losing the love of my life meant I lost everything. Like I had a good business and things like that, but it meant nothing because Lena had passed, my wife. And so that was a very pivotal moment in my life. And when I discovered my true purpose and my mission that I was put on this planet to do, um, I then just removed everything else that didn't serve that purpose. So I closed my business. I refunded my clients in that particular business a metric boatload of money, even if
which is extremely honourable, by the way.
yeah, because I wanted a clean cut. We're talking five figures, like we're talking a good five figures here. I refunded, even after working with them for 8 months. I wanted a clean cut in the business that I didn't want them feeling I owed them anything,
Mm.
because this was far bigger than any amount of money that I had. So I shut that down and retired from being a YouTube consultant and went on this new, I guess, for want of a better word, adventure, because I had no clue what it entailed. I had no clue how I was going to do it. I just knew I had to. And so that voyage of discovery, I guess, started. And it took, God, nearly 12 months for me to fully understand what that looked like and what I was to do. I tried a couple of things, failed miserably, for the reasons I know why, um, and it was because they weren't part of what I was here to do. And so, getting back to your question, over the past since that time 3 years ago, I've written this book here called "Thank You, I Love You," and it's not some lovey-dovey romance novel or some sort of Barbara Cartland, Mills and Boone type thing. So don't worry, I'm not getting all mushy. Um,
You do
it's
surprise me, mate. No, I know exactly what the content is, and it's absolutely brilliant. And the title could be considered by some as misleading because it's much more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, and the thing is that those 5 words actually they are how I live my life, and there's actually a whole chapter in there, and it reveals why I use those words the way I do. And there was a pivotal moment in the 5.5 weeks that I took care of my wife before she passed, why they came about. And that was the lesson, one of the many lessons I learned from taking care of Lena before she passed. And that was probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest one, on why I say thank you, I love you.
And thank you for sharing those many moments. What what did you discover about yourself during that period? Because when you and before you answer that and to give you time to process, I want to develop the question because when you're seeing someone you love dearly transitioning from life to the other side to death, it can be a very humbling and powerful moment or in time, can't it?
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. This was a moment where my wife was no longer able to take care of herself. Cancer was literally eating her from the inside out. Every ounce of strength that she had was fighting the cancer, but the cancer was winning. Every ounce of strength that she had was being eaten by the cancer. And my wife, being the strong person that she is, didn't want to feel that she was a burden to anybody, irrespective of her physical, mental, or spiritual condition. And she would say to me, "Oh, honey, I'm sorry." And my job as her husband, as her protector, as the someone who loves her unconditionally, was to change her mindset. And we said earlier, mindset is the most valuable and most
Yeah.
important thing for your success. So her job wasn't to feel that I was put out, that this
Mm.
was a burden to me, because it actually wasn't. And this is one of the huge lessons that I learned, is that this was a gift. She was giving me a gift, irrespective of her, how bad she felt. And when she said, "Honey, I'm sorry," I quickly turned that around. And I said to her, "You know what we say about sorry in this house." She goes, "I know, but I'm sorry." I was like, "Not many people would do what you do." I said, "Not many husbands would stick around." And I said, "Well, it's a good job you didn't marry any many other husbands, isn't it? You married me."
Yeah, yeah. You married me, i.e., you. And yeah, you're
Exactly.
quite right.
And she says, "But I'm sorry. I'm really sorry." And I says, "No, honey, we don't do sorry in this house. What do we say?" She goes, "Thank you. I love you." And I says, "Yes, honey. And I want to say to you, thank you. I love you too." Because she was giving me that gift. She was giving me the gift of unconditional love, that I was able to take care of her, that I was able to give everything I had, to do what I could at that moment, to give her everything she needed.
Uh,
And that was the most amazing thing that I have ever experienced in my life.
and thank you for sharing that. And that is selfless as well. And that's a really good way to go about the word sorry and the alternative. Thank you, I love you. If and I did say that we were going to be talking about world economy and the troubles, the state of the country, and the future for business. If more people just said thank you, I love you, instead of being blasphemous,
Yeah,
insulting, everything else, and they just sat down, because you know as well as I do, we've been around the block a few times. Mind you, there are some people in power who've been around the block a few times more than us, and
yeah,
they're still being dictators, in my opinion. Uh,
yeah,
and if they just sat down around the table and said, "Thank you, I love you," I mean, where can you go with that?
yeah. And irrespective of whatever has happened to them, good, bad, or indifferent, because it's all a lesson. It is all a lesson. Life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you.
Yeah,
So when you take that and go, "Okay, so why is the universe giving me this particular thing at this particular time? Why is this person saying this or doing this to me right now? What's the lesson I've got to learn?" And this is what I took that step back and said, "Okay, what have I to learn from this moment?" Because I could have gone, "What the hell? Cancer this, screw you, doctors messed up, blah, blah, blah," all of this sort of stuff. But I didn't, because this was a thing that was happening for me, not to me.
yeah. And that's an interesting point I've just picked up on there, because there are people in the world that have got a blame culture, haven't they? It's the doctor's
Absolutely.
fault.
Victims are all victims.
It's the nurse's fault. It's the weather's fault. It's someone else's fault. It's
Yeah,
never
yeah,
their fault. They never accept responsibility, because responsibility, when you examine the word, it's your response and your ability to make a response
exactly.
to whatever
Exactly.
is happening. Does that
And it
make
puts
sense?
control and power back in your hands.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So listen, I know we could speak for days. Well, we will do next time we get together, in fact. Uh, but how can people get hold of this Thank You, I Love You?
So if you
The
want to
book.
go to the Amazons, the good old Amazons, whichever one you're on, whether it's US, UK, Canada, Brazil, all around the world, Japan, I've checked them all. It's there. You can just type in "Thank you, I love you." Look for the white cover. There is one with a sunshine on it, but it should come up top of the list. Or alternatively, if you want to get I've got additional material. If you go to thankyouiloveyoubook.com, you'll find it there. But yeah, just search on the Amazons. You can get the paperback version like this, less the not for resale stripe on it, obviously, or you can download the Kindle version as well. So yeah, just go to the Amazons. That's where it is. Or thankyouiloveyoubook.com.
Thank you. I love you too,
Thank you very much.
David. And so, what's the future holding for you now? What have you got up your sleeve? What are you looking to do next?
So this is actually the first step in a movement that happened by default through writing the book. And that is a movement to help people to, and one of my missions, in fact, is to help put cancer back into the control of the people who have it. Because unfortunately, right now, anyone with cancer who doesn't know it has to go either to a doctor or a hospital or somewhere to find out if they have it. And we know we hear far too many stories about friends and family who've been diagnosed and they've got months or worse still, weeks to live. And so I'm creating something that will actually help people identify that they have cancer, and they don't need, and it will give it to them straight away. And they don't need a doctor, they don't need anything. It'll be inexpensive. So that's one of the things I'm doing, and then I'm also helping coaches and consultants who have had a life-altering moment like I have, to help them get back on track to rediscover their purpose or discover their purpose so that they can change the world with their mission that they've been put here to put on to do on the planet.
Fantastic. Well, David, it's been an absolute pleasure as always speaking with you. Thank you for your contribution to society. Definitely thank you for what you do, and you do a great job.
Thank you very much, Joseph. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And if you've enjoyed that, remember you can visit joeteams.com, joeteams.com, to get lots of resources. We've got interviews like the one I've just held with David, and there's other stuff. In fact, there's so much stuff. Just go on when you get on the page, just go to the top tab, and you can click on content and you can see all the things that are available. So until we meet again, ensure you have a brilliant day. Thank you.